Most business owners think profit problems come from the obvious places: not enough sales, ads not converting, clients not being on time. But have you thought about this question, listeners? What if the real cost is coming from places you do not see every day? Today's conversation is about the hidden leaks, the silent drains on time, energy, and money that slowly compound until growth feels harder than it should. Welcome back, listeners, to the BizBlend Podcast. I'm your host, Sana, and my guest listeners today knows this firsthand. He did not start with a blueprint, a big team, or a perfect system, just an idea, a strong work ethic, and the belief that building something meaningful was possible. Over the last decade, he has seen both sides of entrepreneurship: successful businesses, published books, and helping others create structure where there was chaos. And also on the other side, launches that went nowhere, investments that did not pay off, or late night questioning whether he was doing enough or doing it right. And what changed was not a flashy strategy or a viral moment. It was getting honest about what was broken and putting real processes behind the passion. And that is exactly what we're going to unpack today, listeners. So let me tell you, this is not about perfection. It is about awareness. And more importantly, about stopping the quiet losses that keep business owners stuck. So, listeners, meet my incredible guest, Eric B. Horn. Eric, welcome to BizBlend. It's really an honor to have you here.
Well, that was a great introduction, and thank you so much for even allowing me to be on this podcast. I think that uh, spotting profit leaks is a what we call in the United States it's an elephant in the room. Meaning it's a big problem, but most people don't talk about it because they just look at when it comes to business what they're making. They don't really look at what they're losing, and a lot of it is just based off of the unawareness of some things that are going on that happens in every business, right? So I definitely look forward to digging into this even more and giving your listeners, the key word that you said, awareness on some things that may be leaking in their business. So thank you for having me again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Eric. And before we talk about in terms of what can be done or what shouldn't be done, let's start with your journey first. Because when in the earlier stages of your business, um, what was exactly happening? Like, what was costing you the most that you did not recognize at the time?
Okay, one story that cost me about 5 years. Well, when I first started my business, I had a career coaching business, and I was very general about the career coaching side because I had the mentality that at least 85% of the world is looking for work, so I can that's my client base, that 85% of the world. But I wasn't getting the sales. We had the volume of potential people that were looking for my services, but I really wasn't making any money, aka my business was leaking. Until it got to the point where I niched down and really started to focus on a specific demographic of people. To be very specific, I went from, hey, I can provide my career coaching services to anyone, as opposed to let me specifically focus on recent college graduate, right? So it immediately narrowed down a demographic of people. But as soon as I niched down to a certain group of people, my business revved up because as soon as I targeted a group of people, I didn't focus on the masses anymore. I focused on recent college graduates, and recent college graduates have a certain set of challenges within itself, right? Especially if they're just coming out of college. So knowing that, I was able to drill down on my marketing, drill down on speaking exactly to a group of people, and that helped. So that was the first game changer for me, knowing that instead of me just trying to focus on a large group of people and really not knowing who my target is, let me drill down and specifically focus on a certain group of people. Same service, right? Same exact service, but focused on a specific group of people. And that patched up one of my leaks because I was too general when I first started in my business. And that's what a lot of business owners do right now. Even though they say one of the standards is have a, they call it even an avatar or a target market. Not to get too technical, just know who you are selling to and then speak to them, speak to that specific group of people, and you'll get more people to identify to say, he or she is, I feel like they're talking exactly to me. Here's my problem. They know that they can solve it. How do we move forward in serving them? So that was the key thing. Don't be too general in your business. Niche down and then go from there. And even if the niche doesn't work, you can always transition to another niche, but do not be fooled by what a lot of people are saying is just, serve as many people as you can based off of your business. No, niche down. And as you niche down, you can get more strategic in how you approach your clients, how you serve your clients, how you find even more clients. So, yeah, once I came to the realization, Eric, do not be general in your business and who you're trying to serve. Serve a specific group of people. That changed everything in my business.
And that exactly makes sense. And uh, was that something that you had learned in your college or educations or school, or you just kind of realized it like practically through those moments of realization or learning that what exactly is happening?
I learned it honestly when I wasn't making any money in my business, right? You're in business to serve, to help, to solve a problem, but business is about commerce. Business is about exchanging a certain level of value for a certain dollar amount. That's how it is, and that's how it's always been globally. So when it got to the point where I started to look at my monthly my books, my monthly income statement, and start to see a consistent amount of zeros, I had to realize that I had to change something up, right? So it was I just and that's another piece that I'll talk about in a minute. But I just focused on why wasn't I making any money, and then pivoted and tried something different. Now the solution that I just gave you, this just didn't come to me uh, like a light bulb. I had to try different things, right? That's so I tried things after things, but the the outcome was still the same. I wasn't making any money, so it just got to a point where, um, like let me focus on a specific group of people, and that was a mind shift for me because I like to serve as many people as possible, right? But and I thought if I niche down to a specific group of people, would I be missing out on the masses? But it's the key and having a successful business isn't serving everyone. You're gonna have some people that you do not serve, which is okay. When you have 8 billion, close to 9 billion people on the planet, it's okay if you get an opportunity to serve 1% of that, or maybe even a half a percent or a tenth of a percent. The main thing is just serving uh, people so I can help them in their career at that given point in my business. So tried a lot of things, a lot of, I won't say failures, a lot of lessons learned, but then it got to a point where once I made the realization, hey, focus on a specific group of people. And then my numbers started to change. I started to get clients. I started to get success results from that particular group. I just watched, rinse, repeat, and just kept doing it over and over and over again, right? A lot of
Mm.
business owners, they love and I'll touch on this in a bit, the inconsistency or the hustle and bustle. Uh,
Yeah.
True success is being strategic and doing things over and over and over again to get a predictable result, right? But when you look at social media and look at the masses, the unpredictability of a business seems more acceptable than the monotonous step by step things that you need to do in order to be successful. Because I don't know anyone, and this is one thing that I talk to my clients about right now. You have to remove yourself from okay, I have to work 17 hours and, get tired for hustling and things of that nature. If you knew for a fact that you figured out a step by step process in order for you to secure clients and be successful every single day, would you choose that? Most people,
Mm.
they say they would, but at the same time, it's a behavior shift because you're going from the exciting, oh, we're doing all of this to m- some people may perceive it to be boring, but to me, success is not boring. If you know that if you do these three things over and over and over again to get clients to be successful, I would choose that, especially when you're in the business once again to serve, but at the same time to make a profit at the end of the day.
Mm. And that is something I asked you because um that's what is the most interesting, like the most exciting part, and at the same time sometimes it can be a very difficult realization as well, as you very rightly mentioned that it's a uh, mindset shift or a behavior shift. um, some hard lessons that we may not be able to learn in our formal education. But yeah, like if we look at, especially let's say marketing 101, people see that, you need to have a target audience or a target persona, that like your ICP, ideal customer profile. But then setting aside the education part, I think it's more about on the field, in the field, or um, on ground, what exactly you are learning and how you are pivoting accordingly. And you are very much right. I mean, um, success here, it's not boring, but then it shouldn't be like we are just putting up a fishing net and trying to catch one or two fishes, just because your entire superset is huge and wide. And I think that's where a lot of time, uh, let alone money as well, but then a lot of time also gets wasted. And that's exactly my next question, is, Eric, that many entrepreneurs say that time is their most valuable asset. Yet, yet, I mean, in all that hustle and bustle, it really gets tracked where it actually goes. In your experience, where do business owners unknowingly waste the time, most of the time, that eventually turns into a profit problem?
The biggest thing is the lack of standardization, meaning when tasks are done, when the same task is done different ways, which doesn't make any sense. As an example, um, how how you onboard someone is very important in your
Okay.
business. Okay, especially if it's your first time hire, right? Because a lot of business owners, if they're looking to grow, they're looking to hire someone. The fastest way for that person that they hire to leave is pointing them in the right direction on how to get something done, but then it's different the next time around, right? You want something, consistency is something that people want the benefits of being consistent, but they do not want to put the structure in to make it consistent. And the best way to do that is do something, there's something as simple as creating SOPs or standard operating
Mm.
procedures. And at a high level, when I talk to clients or just people in general about SOPs, they put the concept of a SOP at the top of Mount Everest, meaning, oh, I can't do that in my business because it's so difficult and things of that nature. A SOP could be a sheet of paper with 10 steps, uh, and they have to do that every single day to create a predictable outcome. As an example, one of my clients, she owns a coffee shop. So when she hired her first employee, one of the key things that she needs to do every morning is open up, right? You're not going to have a coffee shop and open up a business if you don't actually open the business up. So
Yeah.
after she explained to me the things that it takes to open up her business every single morning, I was thinking you can write that down and give that to your employee, and it can be something as simple as step 1, unlock the doors. Step 2, turn on the lights. Step 3, turn on the coffee. Step 4, bring the donuts from the back to the front, right? Once again, it can be that simple, but these are the things that need to happen every single day in her business to open up, right? So
No.
it got to a point where if it's standard, there's no room for error, right? Because you have it written down, it's clear. If it gets to the point where you written it down, typed it up, or whatever have you, and they still don't open that correct manner, there's another training aspect what's going on. But you'll be able to pinpoint exactly where the break point is. Because if they don't turn on the coffee pots to make the coffee, you're not going to be able to sell coffee. And if they don't do that, you can say, okay, you missed step 4. What's the reason why you missed step 4? So even when someone misses a step, you can quickly identify what happened and then correct it, right? So, but if you don't have the proper standardization, and if you are doing that one task a million different ways, it creates a high level of confusion. It creates a high level of um, energy that's being used when you don't necessarily have to. And last but not least, it creates uh, leaks in your business because you're not doing the same thing over again to create a predictable outcome. And for business owners, that predictable outcome is to make a sale. So that's one of the key things. A lot of businesses do not lack the standards in their business. And once again, for your listeners, I do not want you to think that creating a standard or a standard operating procedure is very difficult. You can take a sheet of paper, a post-it note. I really don't care what it is. And you can just say, this is the task at the very top. What are the steps that need to happen? You can write it down and then give it to your employee. Or better yet, because as entrepreneurs, and you kind of hit on this before, and I'm so grateful that you said we're in, like I said, this hustle culture, and we're trying to juggle a million and one things at the same time. Our brain can only hold so much, right? And knowing that you don't necessarily, you can complete a task without thinking because you have it right in front of you, it creates the consistency, aka the predictable result that you would want in your business.
Hmm. And it might uh, challenge or maybe might be a bit contradictory for some of the listeners, especially founders or um, the early stage entrepreneurs, because that is something they have exactly imagined. Oh, it's going to be chaotic, but I'm going to have fun in that chaos. I mean, so it's fine. But then, if that chaos is costing you and your business, not only in terms of time and money and profit, revenue, but it's also hurting your people, it's hurting you, then I don't think that chaos has any way of getting romanticized it here or wore as a badge of honor. So I think it's a very important point and like a checkpoint, for especially for the early stage entrepreneurs and founders, Eric.
100%. And then let me add on that until we move to the next topic, because most founders and even business owners, they love the word scale, right?
Mm.
People love the word, oh, this year we're going to scale our business to $1 trillion and things of that nature. No business has successfully scaled without the proper documentation. None, right? And I really did. And if your listeners, I would want to challenge your listeners back to say, if there is a business out there that has scaled to an astronomical amount and they don't have the proper procedures in place, let me know. Because even when you think about fast food restaurants, for example,
Mm.
McDonald's is global, and McDonald's has basic standard operating procedures on how long it should take to create an order, how long you should have the french fries in the hot oil, how long it take, even though in America, most of the ice cream machines are down all the time, but the ice cream machine, they have these huge standard operating procedures. Even how you greet someone at McDonald's, it's all
Yeah.
written down. So regardless if who comes in, right? Regardless of who comes in, how they operate and how they do things, anyone that works as an employee at McDonald's, and they read the standard operating procedure and execute the standard operating procedure, it's going to create a predictable outcome, right? So you can think of conglomerates like that. They have the proper documentation in place. And entrepreneurs, regardless if you are a solo entrepreneur or you have a small team or a large team, take the time out or hire someone that can take the activity that occurs in the business, write it down, document it to create that predictable outcome. Because as an example, if you're selling, uh, let's say if you're selling pens, as an example,
Mhm.
you're selling pens, and you know for a fact that if you follow these 10 steps, you're going to sell 100 pens. Why would you deviate from that? Right? Because if you know that this is the steps where I can sell 100 pens, you do that in the course of 8 hours, 9 hours, and you sell a considerable amount of pens. Why would you switch that up the next day? You are putting your predictable success in danger because you chose to deviate from the step by step thing that helps you sell these pens. But once
Mhm.
again, it's processes and procedures. It's deemed as boring, but I think once again it's exciting because it's creating a predictable outcome of success. And once again, I don't know any business owner that does not want to be successful in their business.
I really love that. I really love that. Eric, I wish we could have gone on and on because this is such a crucial um, conversation topic. But I'm very sure our listeners are going to definitely have so many questions. Maybe they have their own thoughts or opinions to share. So if they would like to reach out to you, connect with you, what would be the easiest way?
The easiest way I'll give you two easy ways. One, you can go to my website, and that's ericbhorn.com. Or for my LinkedIn users, you can go on LinkedIn and search under my name, Eric B. Horn, and we can connect there. Actually, I think it would be good if you would, could have a great time. We can do a part two or maybe even a part three because I feel that this is so important because this is one of the hidden jewels when it comes to being successful in business. But once again, people deem it to be boring, but my mindset shifts from being boring to once that's really starting to make money in their business because it's once again, it creates a predictable outcome based off of the steps that are laid out. So I'm here. I would love to do a follow up just to continue to pour into your listeners about identifying, these profit leaks, but even more importantly, how to
Uh,
patch those profit leaks up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's do another part two of this episode, Eric. And of course, listeners, what I'm going to do there is have all the links mentioned in the show notes. So, as I always say, please find them attached along with this episode on your favorite podcast platform. And I think, listeners, this conversation it reinforces something very important, that most businesses do not fail because there is a lack of passion or there are no efforts there. They struggle because small, hidden issues compound over time. Time wasted, decisions delayed, systems avoided, emotions ignored. And Eric, thank you. Thank you so much because you brought honesty to this conversation, and it's really really crucial to know that real growth starts with clarity, not hype, not any trend. So thank you so much for bringing that.
No, thank you for your time. Thank you for what you're doing on this podcast. This is very important, and please still continue to be a voice for your audience. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much, Eric, for your blessings. And to all the listeners, if today's episode sparked some uncomfortable realizations, it is not a bad thing. Because, as Eric said, awareness is the first step toward building something that actually supports the life and business you want. Until next time, this is your host, Sana, and I'll catch you in the next episode of BizBlend. Thank you and take care.